I never thought silence could be so loud. For 3 years, I watched my husband pack his bags every Friday evening. The same black suitcase, the same polite kiss on my forehead, the same words. Just another business trip, love. I'll be back Sunday night. And for 3 years, I smiled. I trusted. I believed. Until the day I followed him. What I discovered didn't destroy me because he was cheating. It destroyed me because he was hiding something far more painful, something that revealed how little he thought I could handle the truth. My name is Sarah, and this is the story of how I learned that sometimes the cruelest lies are the ones wrapped in good intentions. My husband's name is Daniel. We met in college during a charity book drive. He was the quiet guy in the corner, sorting donated books with a focus that made him seem older than his years. I was loud, bubbly, the kind of person who filled every silence with laughter. He used to say I was his opposite, his balance. We got married 4 years ago, a small ceremony, close friends. His parents didn't come. He said they were too old to travel. I didn't push. Daniel wasn't someone who talked much about his past. Our life was simple. We lived in a modest 2-bedroom apartment. He worked as a financial consultant. I was a graphic designer working from home. We had routines, Friday movie nights, Sunday brunches, quiet evenings on the couch. But every other weekend, Daniel disappeared. At first, I didn't think much of it. He said his company sent him to different cities for client meetings. He'd come back tired, sometimes with dark circles under his eyes, but always with a soft smile and a small gift. A keychain, a bookmark, a postcard. Thought of you, he'd say. I loved him, so I never questioned it. But over time, small things started to feel off. He never talked about his trips, never mentioned client names, never complained about hotels or flights. And when I offered to join him once, he hesitated just for a second before saying, "It's too boring, you'd hate it." That hesitation stayed with me. Then, 3 months ago, I found a receipt in his jacket pocket. It wasn't for a hotel or a restaurant. It was for art supplies, crayons, sketchbooks, colored pencils. Why would a financial consultant need crayons? I tried to let it go, but the doubt grew. And doubt, once planted, has a way of taking root. So one Friday evening, when Daniel kissed my forehead and said, "I'll be back Sunday," I made a decision. I was going to follow him. That Friday, I waited until his car pulled out of the driveway. Then I grabbed my keys and followed, keeping a safe distance. My heart was pounding. Part of me felt ridiculous. What am I doing? This is my husband. I trust him. But another part of me, the part that had been growing louder for months, whispered, then why does he feel so far away? Daniel didn't drive toward the airport. He didn't take the highway out of town. Instead, he drove to the east side of the city, into a neighborhood I'd only passed through. Older buildings, cracked sidewalks, chain-link fences. He stopped in front of a large gray building. The sign out front read, "St. Mary's Home for Children," an orphanage. I parked across the street, my hands frozen on the steering wheel. What is he doing here? I watched as Daniel got out of the car, grabbed his suitcase, and walked inside like he'd done it 100 times before. A woman at the door greeted him with a warm hug. He smiled, a smile I hadn't seen in months. I sat there for an hour, maybe longer. My mind was spinning. Is he volunteering? Why wouldn't he tell me? Is this where he's been going every weekend? When I finally drove home, I couldn't sleep. I stared at the ceiling, replaying everything in my head. The next morning, I went back. This time, I didn't just watch from the car. I walked inside. The lobby smelled like floor cleaner and crayons. There was a bulletin board covered in children's drawings. A woman at the front desk looked up. "Can I help you?" I hesitated. "I'm looking for someone. Daniel Harper?" Her face lit up. "Oh, Mr. Danny. He's in the art room. Are you family?" "I'm his wife." Her smile faltered, just slightly. "Oh, I didn't know he was married." That sentence hit me like a slap. She led me down a hallway, through a door, and there he was. Daniel, my husband, sitting on the floor, surrounded by children.
He was helping a little boy glue cotton balls onto a paper cloud. Another child was showing him a drawing. A girl with braids was sitting in his lap, giggling. He looked happy, truly, deeply happy, and I realized in that moment that I hadn't seen him look like that in years.
He saw me. The smile fell from his face. The room seemed to freeze. Sarah? I couldn't speak. I just stood there, staring. One of the staff members gently ushered the children out of the room. Daniel stood up slowly, like he was facing something he'd been dreading. How long have you been coming here? My voice came out quieter than I intended. He looked down. 3 years. 3 years? I repeated the words, trying to make sense of them. You've been lying to me for 3 years? I wasn't lying, you told me you were on business trips. I know. Why, Daniel? Why would you hide this from me? He ran a hand through his hair. His jaw tightened. For a long moment, he didn't say anything. Then finally, because I didn't think you'd understand. That hurt more than anything. Understand what? He sat down on one of the tiny chairs, looking suddenly exhausted. Sarah, I grew up in a place like this. I froze. I was in foster care from the time I was 6 until I aged out at 18. I never told you because I didn't want you to see me differently. I didn't want you to pity me. My throat tightened. I started coming here 3 years ago because I wanted to give these kids what I never had. Someone who showed up. Someone who stayed. He looked up at me, and his eyes were red. But I didn't tell you because I was afraid. Afraid you'd think I was broken. Afraid you'd want to fix me. Afraid you'd look at me and see the kid nobody wanted. I didn't know what to say. All this time, I thought I knew my husband. I thought we shared everything. But he'd been carrying this whole part of himself in silence. I sat down across from him. My hands were shaking. You thought I'd judge you? I thought you'd leave. Daniel. Everyone leaves, Sarah. His voice cracked. My parents left. Every foster family I stayed with, they gave up. And I know you love me, but I didn't want to risk it. I didn't want to be the guy with the sad backstory. I wanted to be enough. Tears burned my eyes. You are enough. Then why do I still feel like I'm not? We sat there in silence. The weight of his words hung between us. I thought about all the times he'd pulled away, all the times he'd seemed distant, all the times I'd felt like there was a wall between us. It wasn't because he didn't love me. It was because he didn't think he deserved to be loved. I spent the rest of that weekend at the orphanage. I met the kids, heard their stories, watched Daniel with them, patient, gentle, present in a way I hadn't seen in so long. One little girl, maybe 7 years old, tugged on my sleeve. Are you Mr. Danny's friend? I'm his wife. Her eyes went wide. Does he have a wife? Does that mean you're staying? The question broke something in me. Yes, I whispered. I'm staying. That night, Daniel and I sat in our car in the orphanage parking lot. I'm sorry, he said quietly. I should have told you. Yes, you should have. I was scared. I know. I reached for his hand. But Daniel, you don't have to carry everything alone. That's what marriage is. We carry things together. He looked at me, and for the first time in months, I saw him. Really saw him. I want to help, I said. I want to be part of this. You do? Yes, these kids, they need people like you, and I want to be one of those people too. For the first time that weekend, he smiled. Over the next few months, everything changed. I started going to the orphanage with Daniel every weekend. I taught the kids art. We organized donation drives. We became a team, not just at home, but in the work that mattered most to him. And slowly, Daniel started opening up. He told me about his childhood, about the loneliness, about the feeling of being invisible.
I used to think, he said one night, that if I could just be successful enough, smart enough, stable enough, then I'd finally matter. You've always mattered, I told him, not because of what you do, but because of who you are. He cried that night, and I held him. A year later, we made a decision. We started the process to become foster parents. It wasn't easy. There were interviews, home visits, background checks. There were moments of doubt, moments where Daniel wondered if he was ready. But we did it together. And 6 months after that, we welcomed a 10-year-old boy named Marcus into our home. He was quiet, guarded, angry at the world, but Daniel understood him in a way I never could. "You're safe here," Daniel told him on his first night, "and we're not going anywhere." It took time, but slowly Marcus started to trust us, and I watched my husband become the father he never had.
Looking back, I realized something. Daniel didn't lie to me because he didn't trust me. He lied because he didn't trust himself. He thought his past made him less, that his pain was a burden I shouldn't have to carry. But the truth is, we all carry something, and the people who love us don't need us to be perfect. They just need us to be honest. Marriage isn't about hiding your scars. It's about showing them and trusting that the person beside you won't run. Daniel taught me that, and those kids at St. Mary's taught me something even more important, that sometimes the greatest act of love isn't fixing someone. It's simply showing up again and again, even when it's hard, especially when it's hard.
If this story touched your heart, please like, share, and subscribe. Your support helps us bring more real, emotional stories to life. And if you've ever felt like you had to hide parts of yourself from the people you love, remember this: you are enough, exactly as you are. Drop a heart in the comments if you believe in second chances, and share this with someone who needs to hear it today. Thank you for listening. Until next time.